I have the toughest job in the world. I'm serious. No, I'm not a cop, not at least on this side. I have the same job as a single mom. We both have the toughest jobs in the world. Why? Well, my job title is rather unusual. I worry about things that I have no control over. Like I said, much like a single mom. Now, when you reach that Christ consciousness, or divine mystical consciousness, the seventh sense, as I put it, when you're one magical motherfucker, as a man once said to me on Venice Boulevard, you can create something out of anything. Now, I don't mean make up or fabricate. I mean show some substance. In fact, almost everything you do create has some substance to it when you're in Christ consciousness. Now, people think I get there through like LSD or DMT or something like that. I'm not really trying to go there. I heard you see aliens from different dimensions, which probably happens, but I have a problem with my leg. I'm hiking up to the corner. As you can tell, I'm a little bit winded, and it's raining, and I hardly would be in your dude. I'm so high vibe or feelings. So I was thinking of an example how you can turn something and show something very amazing. So what came to my mind was my generation. So some of you may feel, oh, great. No, but listen to me. Because the definition of generation is very different for other people. The idea that we have generations like the baby boomers, the millennials, the Gen Xers, that's a man-made thing. Because generation, historically, and I think even in the dictionary, it does not mean like every 20 years a group of kids gets a specific name. A generation is basically anyone that was alive during the same time period or that share like ideas, like the same idea. So if you have something in common, it actually is considered part of the same generation. And very much historically, in the Bible, for example, when you hear the word generations, they're not talking about age. They're talking about race. Now, I remember hearing that in my ear, and I coincidentally went to Mass, Catholic Mass, the next day, and sure enough, as a Catholic Mass, that was the exact topic. And I had been talking to my dad about that in the morning. I said, you should really be paying attention because it's about time, that 400-year in the forest prophecy of the Bible would be coming to fruition if it was true. And I think I know who they're talking about when they say the children of Israel. And then that night with the 5:30 Mass, they mentioned generations, just like that. And they said, keep in mind, when they say generations, they're not talking about age. They're talking about, a generation of people, a group, a much larger segment. And then we can break it down into, well, I'm part of the 80s, or you're part of the 90s. Well, let's look at Gen X. Okay. I have got a Forrest Gump bumper sticker of the year for you. Watch the creation. It's magic. Black bumper sticker, but with white letters. And it's going to say, we know pumpkin pie. And below that, it'll say, we know pumpkin pie. Isn't that genius? Oh, no, don't turn away. It's genius. But wait a second. We know pumpkin pie. K-N-O-W. Pumpkin pie. And below that, we know pumpkin pie. Now, you tell me, does that not perfectly sum up the animus of this entire generation? And not so much in any other generation we know. That we've had this experience whether it's the middle of the night and you're hungry and, oh my God, look, pumpkin pie. Or if it's the pumpkin pie, apple pie, it's like we've tasted first place. We know what it's like to be on top. We've been rock stars. We've been famous for a minute. So we've had that pumpkin pie. We've had a piece of the pie. But also, you'll never find another group that's currently living that is just at the end of the table that get no pumpkin pie for you. And usually for a reason we didn't even do anything wrong. We always get grounded or sent to our bedrooms. We didn't even do that shit. At least blame me for something I did. Now, economically, education-wise, money-wise, you name it. Tell me after 40, 45 years that's not the truth. That would not be a perfect slogan. We know pumpkin pie, but we know pumpkin pie. We never get ours. We never get dessert. In fact, usually when we're the one who made dinner. It's totally single mom creativity right there. So you look at that and you say, well, okay, whatever. But it's true. If you look at it in the big dynamic of things, that says a lot. Because that would put us kind of as the opposition of the greatest generation. Remember in Fight Club, there was a very prophetic line said by Tyler in the famous speech of Tyler, where he says, we're the middle children of history, man. We have no great war. We have no great depression. In the future, our great war would be what? Would be a spiritual war. Our great depression will be our lives. And it talks about this, and it was very prophetic. Movies are very prophetic like that. The one thing I don't quite understand is how so many people have such a negative view of these movies that they've studied this in universities. This is not, conspiracy theory stuff. This is something that they don't quite understand yet. That, you'll have movies going all the way back to the 80s that for some reason the numbers that come up the most in all the movies are 9/11. From Trading Spaces to The Simpsons. This number 9/11 appears more than any other combination of numbers in all of these things. They were signs. They're trying to tell us that they were going to do 9/11. They're trying to tell us they're going to do 9/11. Why do you associate that with an enemy? He said the Illuminati is trying to warn us. Why would they do that? The case has been made that that's predictive programming. They're preparing us for it. No, not in those movies. Not in those, in The Simpsons and all that. If you think about it, if you know something, if you have your, eyes to see and ears to hear, you can see that that's warning you. Something about a 9/11. Because an enemy would not warn you like that. Now, I know you're supposed to make announcements like that. I think it's more of an echo in time, because the consciousness that was affected by 9/11 was huge. It was alive all over the world. First time that's ever happened. Because if you look at the United States of America and you look at like natural disasters, the fact of the matter is the biggest, really actually embarrassing and worst moment in our history happened at Katrina. More people died. I mean, where were the first responders for that? And almost as if it's by history's and the universe's rules, more so than racism. No one really remembers that. Yet that was a moment in time where I was, in its eerie, because that happened the same day that when they broke up with me, that I had such disappointment. I was so, this is not my country. I can't believe this is happening. And people did, not our government. But people were driving down trucks full of food from Montana, from everywhere, down to New Orleans. Newscasters were having fits. Where is our government? Where's our government? They're chasing terrorists everywhere, but they're not helping our own people. But the whole world doesn't think of it that way. So when it comes to the consciousness, which seems to dictate things, the impact was not as big. It didn't infect you. But with 9/11, that was oh my God, this is live. They're landing planes in the trees. I mean, everyone remembers where they were. It was like the Kennedy assassination on steroids. And the amplification of that impact in time, like when you throw a rock in a pool or in a pond, goes outwards. They go right, left, all around. I'm convinced something like that happens amongst the time-space continuum, and that's why we will see things like, someone saying, did you know that this truck, it had a painting of two planes hitting two buildings just like the Twin Towers, and that was 3 years before the event. See, those things are not made up. They're true. The question is, do you think it's some kind of threat or warning that they're giving you? Those are the hints and warnings, if you even want to say that are being put out there. That's the reading of the tea leaves. I mean, 200 years ago, if it starts getting windy and you see a lot of dark clouds, it was God warning you, thunderstorm's coming. It could be a tornado. Now, if you look at that even deeper, it's not a prophecy as much as it's a forecast. You see signs, you're seeing things. I'm seeing this number over and over again, and numbers have become very important lately. Remember, the end of times was the Mayan prophecy. Of course, people take it out of context and think, oh my God, the end of the world. No, it had to do with time. If you really break down the definition, it had to do with time. And that was right at the peak, I noticed, of when every single person you ever met in a supermarket checkout line or anywhere was seeing 11:11, 12:12, 4:44. I mean, it was like every minute. seemed to have some kind of cosmic numerical order that was like your birthday or your mom's birthday or a number that struck important with you. So there was something that happened. We didn't know what it was because it's been a long time, but something did happen during that Mayan end of times prophecy because it was about the Mayan calendar. In fact, the word Mayan means illusion. So if you were to translate the word Mayan calendar into a little bit more, let's say, eccentric but yet specific terms, it would mean the illusion of time. The illusion of time is what the Mayan calendar means. And like I said, nursing the cursed illusion. So what are you doing if you're nursing the cursed illusion? It's cursed. What's the illusion? Time. So you're milking time thinking something better is going to happen? Yeah, it could be that, but I'm not shifting it because I don't think they were talking about that specifically. Because, well, they're in Mexico. Yeah, but there really was no America then. And the Aztecs had the same prophecy about the 12th Bactun and the 13th Ahau, another very crucial part of that prophecy, which was at the end of the 12th Bactun and at the beginning of the 13th Ahau. Now, what does that mean? In Spanish and in English, it meant the return of the 13th generation, of the wise ones, of the elders, that they would return. People thought this meant on spaceships. Now, Generation X got its name from a book, and people think the guy got the name of the book from a Billy Idol band, but really, the term, as far as we can see, stemmed from right after World War II, was a cartoon in a magazine, basically, perfectly, by coincidence, prophesizing, in, I think, England, actually, a group of teens that had nothing to do. They were technologically burnt out. They were the slackers, not because they didn't know shit or didn't want to do shit, but they were the middle children of history. That's where Billy Idol got the name for his band. And then you have the book, Generation X. And I can cite for you, like in the U2 song, where they talk about, in God's country, sad eyes and crooked crosses are going to be in God's country. And then they show all these clips of kids during World War II. And he shows the symbol of an X. Now, that was 4 years before that book even came out, and no one has ever used the term Generation X for us. And the whole video, the whole concept of the song is about the children of America. So right there we have an echo. Am I saying that Bono knew the future? We can't prove that. That's something we can never know. But I am saying is that you can see these patterns. People are seeing these patterns. And that is part of what I think people were saying about the secret societies. Because there's a small group of individuals that see those patterns, and you know what they do? Well, they're not really supposed to get people out of the way of the hurricane. I've learned that lesson. You can tell people about it, but you can't force them. There's a very specific rule given to me. And I break it all the time, but I rarely get punished for it except by myself. The future can be foreseen, but freedom of action must be given. So I have every right to tell you what I think is going to happen, in my opinion. But I can't force you to do shit. Because the fact of the matter is, yeah, some things were definitely supposed to happen. And very often, as the angels told me, when I saw something from up top, we were up on a scaffolding looking down on earth. It was really weird. We were all drunk. And I said, that's fucked up that happened to that person. And two girl angels, I'm hanging out with the chicks up there, said to me, from our position, you would not view anything that's happening as good or bad. And I had no idea what that meant. From their position, meaning from up there, looking down upon all the people on earth, you would not see anything as being good or bad. I didn't understand that. And then I recognized what they meant. Every action has a positive or negative reaction. So if you're depressed, if you're down, if you're not feeling good, you don't know why. I mean, my depression was really bad when I was younger. And then in 2010, a long time after that, not long after one of the worst things that happened to me, Wendy leaving me, I had a complete reversal. Where if you ask my friends, that crazy motherfucker thinks she saw God. Now, I wouldn't call it necessarily, quote unquote, the happiest time of my life. But there was some sort of exact opposite of being in hell and then kind of being in heaven. When I I can even connect specific dates to being like, wow, this happened that date and in this date. And it's really strange. Now, I suggest you not get involved in that. You're not supposed to. And they'll consider you the bad arg. And, at some point, this happens with everybody. You'll be like, he's hurting people because he's revealing these secrets. that's something that we're briefed on ahead of time. All right? Because there's a positive and negative reaction. And I would say the safest rule, although some go against it, is what they told me that day. And I had no idea what they meant. They said, we're going to be telling you a bunch of information. I didn't know who we were or who they were. But I knew it wasn't my mind. I knew it wasn't the PCP or the LSD. They said, we're going to give you a bunch of information. Use it to make profits. And they made clear how it was spelled. But not to make money, not to make profit. And at that point, I gave away a lot of what I had. I got rid of my car. I got rid of almost everything except a pair of jeans, shoes, a shirt, and an iPod. And maybe a beer now and then. And some little bit of drugs, you know. Just to keep a brother going. Now, why would they say that? Because you had to stay pure. See, if I'm super mega rich or anything like that, and I start putting, I know where I'm getting my info. And I start spitting out information like that. Believe it or not, I may get a lot of press time. But I'm not being genuine. I'm not being honest. See, I'm not trying to look cool. Because in a way, you could say I'm being used. You claim you're getting this information from God. Oh no, I'm claiming I'm getting it from a higher source. I mean, we're rounding it off and calling it God. Okay? I don't think I'm the genius that's coming up with these ideas. These are ancient ideas that somehow or another are being shared with me. Now, anyone else they're being shared with? Yeah. Donald Trump, how did he know, after 40 years of immigration, that we were going to have a posse of hundreds of people with torches, basically, at the castle gates, trying to get into America, when immigration had been down 68%. There was no reason to feel that threat in 2015. And we don't even know that it was a threat, but he foresaw the future. He's done that a few times. In fact, his last name is not actually Trump. He's admitted to that, correct? Right. Now, by changing his name from Trump to Trump, I know for a fact that that's witchcraft. For better or worse. Why? Because Trump indicates triumph. In other words, he's moved the cards on the table so that he will win more often than he loses. Now, the rules may be you can do whatever you want. And clearly with Kushner, the robot, he's very well assembled. And Ivanka and all them. He is trying to create a new dynasty. He's trying to create a bloodline in the U.S. like in England. Now, I don't think it'll work. Because I saw a thing just before the Vegas shooting and just before the fires in California. He was with all the military in the White House. It's a famous little clip. And he says, and he fucked up, because his wife looks at him like, oh shit. Do you see what you're looking at here, everybody? And there's like 100 press reporters in there. And they say, no, what are we looking at? He goes, the calm before the storm. So he knew. He knew. Now, if you want to tell me he's a sweetheart and didn't want to tell people because he was worried we couldn't handle the truth and he could, fine. Or did he know information, get it via telepathic or alien knowledge, and use it to his benefit to confuse the hell out of everybody, create fake evidence of Russian collusion and all this shit, fires all these people, but maybe there's a benefit to that. Maybe there's a reason for that. I mean, look at the fires in Santa Rosa. I've been reading an article that they don't have enough construction workers. They don't have people to do construction up there. They need to build tons of houses. And the funny part is, like, almost all of the people that ever complained to me in California about illegal immigration were these construction workers. Because they're like, yeah, these guys are lining up at Home Depot and working for cheap. No, those Latinos were usually not getting paid at all. What are they going to do? Go to the cops? And what happened to the construction workers? I mean, they're ready to pay big bucks. They need help building houses. And you had us all shook up talking about how the illegal aliens are taking your jobs. Well, okay, we got rid of them. We put up a wall. And no one shows up. So, you know, the ways the world work, it's like a giant chess game. And your prayers are always heard. Now, sometimes your demands are pretty crazy. All right? God said, Don, what can I do for you? Thank you for spreading the word. Thank you for being the martyr, you know, the prophet, the priest, and the king for me. What do you want? And I said, Charlie Sheen, do you want AIDS? I said, no, I don't want AIDS. He said, well, you pay the price for that. I said, I want to be doing coke and have 2 hookers, man. And he said, do you mean you want the equivalent of that? Yes. I just want to be happy. Okay, so if you can have a wish for anybody, what would it be? To be honest with you, man, I can't go to a party if everybody's not happy. So although this seems like some kind of miracle that I don't quite see scientifically how it can be done, it would be wonderful if, when all this is said and done, we all win. Even the people we think are the bad guys, meaning that they become the good guys, but at least we're happy. So he said, we're going to blow up the planet. Just kidding. By the way, the number 13 in the original Egyptian numerology does not mean a curse. Although they think it's funny that Generation X is named Generation 13. Why? Because even sociologists admit the generation is cursed. They will be blamed for things that they did not do, and that's already happened. But in ancient Egypt, and it still applies, the word literally means the real ones, the ones who are real. And on a study on the internet, when they studied the typing habits of those between ages of 20 to like 50, what word got used more often than any other word when people are talking and writing? The word real. And you think, well, it's just a white thing. No, it's not. You ever seen gang writing on a wall? KHS, Knucklehead Bloods, times X 13. And we are in the end times. So everywhere you look amongst this generation, everything the Bible was saying was true. In the end times, or the signs of the times. What's the sign for the times? It's an X. So don't let me Generation X you. And I'm proud being broke and just knowing God loves me. That's really all that matters. Peace.